As we're approaching the start of Amazon's Rings of Power Season 2, I kind of wanted to go in and just talk a little bit about this next season, what the showrunners are thinking, and if this one has actually a better hope of succeeding compared to the last season. And unfortunately, I'm going to probably say no, because from what I've been reading here on this article here, it's a pretty dicey. This is from the I think this New York Times. I think that's what this one's from. The Rings of Power returns with more creatures and more evil. Yeah, author is Isabel Kiwi, so all respects to her for creating this article. But the insight that she gives in this article is quite fascinating to see where these people are coming from, where just the real differential between the Peter Jackson movies to that TV show that we've been seeing. Now, everyone knows the laughable armor scenes in season ones where they literally had just shirts for armor that anyone just looking at just looked like that's wrong. Like, why don't you have an armor on the set making the actual chest plates? And unfortunately, it looks like they haven't changed at all for this season. They have 3D printed trinkets and armor still. So get ready for more cheesy armor that looks absolutely fake and horrendous. The thing about Lord of the Rings, why that trilogy was so good, because the world looked real, the show looked amazing, and it was taken as authentically as possible. This is pretty much as cheap as possibly as you can go. If we go a little bit further down, they're just trying to make this into Saving Private Ryan kind of ordeal. I don't know why they would want to make that. This is completely different, but I mean, Saving Private Ryan, from what I've heard, is a fantastic film. But why are you trying to put Saving Private Ryan into Lord of the Rings fantasy? Like Lord of the Rings fantasy, its own thing. Why are you trying to recreate the scenes here? I mean, if you just go off of what they're saying, what they're paying attention to, I kept saying constantly on set, more blood, more dust, more mud, more everything, except for more Tolkien, except for more ethos of why this world is the way it is, except for understanding the lore, except for really trying to appreciate the fans. They're really self-serving themselves here, in my opinion, that they're focusing on the things that don't really matter just for the sake of satiating their own pride, in my opinion. But let's go a little further down here. They just go and really demonstrate this more with they trying to not really understand Galadriel all that much. Um, she's Kate Blanchett. That's a losing game trying to recreate her. Like, okay, I understand that Kate Blanchett is a fantastic actress, but you should at least try to mimic her, the femininity, the regalness of Galadriel. We haven't seen any of that. We've seen Guy Galadriel, but we have not seen the true queen of the elves depicted at all in the first season, and from what I can see on the trailer, at all in the second season. Uh, Galadriel, I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings nerd, okay? I know the movies, I know the audiobooks, I don't know the Silmarillion that much, so I don't preach that I know her character in and out. But at least from what I've seen and from what I've heard from other real Tolkien lorists, is that the Galadriel that we have isn't the one that is in Tolkien at all. So they're just not matching up with what we're having her here. If we go further down here, um, we kept rising the bar for season two. What does that mean? Are you raising the bar that you're going to follow more Tolkien's lore, or are you following the bar of more drama, more soap opera-ness, more modern deisms, more so that the show will be forgotten within 2 years? I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried to go back and watch season one just recently, and it was bad, man. It was revolting. I got maybe halfway through the season. I'm gonna try to finish it off before the season two starts, but dude, this series is not going to last the test of time in any way, shape, or form. And part of that has to do, as I've been saying, is just how they've been looking at the source material, how they've been treating the world. Because let's go right here. That meant more creatures from Tolkien's books, including Barrow-Wight's Ents, more harrowing battle scenes inspired by war films, and yes, more appearances from those pesky titular rings. But the new season is also darker, more psychological, exploration of common ground between heroes and villains, and how evil can manipulate even innocent desires. So, no reading Tolkien, no bringing Tolkien's concepts of morality into the story. And what is the common ground between heroes and villains? That they're alive, that they want people, that they are trying to create something. Like, what's the commonality between heroes and villains? Villains only want things for themselves, using people, taking control, whereas heroes should be trying to help people, free them from their burdens, giving them a better life. So, what's the common ground between villains and heroes? Because from my point of view, there really shouldn't be any. Just throwing Barrow-wights and Ents into your story, if that makes a Tolkien story, that's a pretty sad story. Like, that shouldn't be making up what your whole story is just by having those few characters in it. But according to these people, that's all it takes. It's just a couple monsters and you're good to go. And to really get into how they're viewing the story, the next part here about Sauron is really telling. We were so hungry for Sauron, for evil spread of villainy, McKay said. Part of us thinks we almost went overboard, but we like it. So you're paying more attention to Sauron, and you really are infatuated in love with him. Like, not necessarily bad here, but I would have almost gone a different route by saying, like, we're really going into the tragedy of Numenor, the fall of this mighty people, how them not being on guard and falling into the snares and lies and deceptions of Sauron, we thought was a really interesting tale to tell about humanity's pride and hubris and not willing to pay attention to the darkness that's out there. That would have been a far way to tell that you were interested in telling the spread of Sauron's evil instead of just, like, this almost sounds like fangirling to me. Like, you are just wanting to just be this evil person yourselves. Like, evil is evil. It's not something to be admired. It's not something to appreciate. But then again, this is Hollywood, where they treat minors interesting. So the fact that they're just so infatuated with the Dark Lord and really hungry and like it, I guess it shouldn't be all that surprising for us. It just comes off a very grotesque, in my opinion. Now, if we come down here, they're talking about their works and how it feels like we're on stage having to present it all the time. Like, okay, you're doing pretend. Like, you're not really full-on actors. You're just child pretenders at this point. Because as far as I can tell, from the last season, there's nothing that was really selling me that you're full-on actors, that we're really treating the source material great. You were just creating a fantasy world with the Tolkien's name on it. To make my point even more sound here, they come over here and say, Tolkien's world is really grounded. So, are you going to be grounding yourself in reality in his works? What does that mean exactly? We're trying to make everything organic, real, and use moonlight, use the fire, use all those elements, except for using Tolkien's morality, using Tolkien's story, using Tolkien's framework. We're trying to create our own reality in Tolkien. Now, yes, Peter Jackson changed the Tolkien story a little bit here and there because you couldn't just adapt straight from books to movie, but the essence of what Tolkien is still in those movies. Whereas in these stories, I'm having a hard time seeing what's Tolkien about this at all. It's all about the realism for us, said Barry Grow, a head-end plastic makeup designer. So, just realism is all you're going for. You're not going for authenticity to the characters. You're not going for any of that. You're just going for realism. Great. And then they just go on talking about how the series will be premiering here. And for them, the most challenging aspects of the show, it wasn't bringing Tolkien into the story and how we can fit his story into this fantasy story that we're telling, because Tolkien's story from the Silmarillion, it's more of a historical book telling and not like The Lord of the Rings, where it's pretty much has the whole script laid out for you. No, for them, the most difficult part was the strike in Hollywood that was going on that took up a lot of the writers and show directors from the project that was going on. So pretty much everyone who is in Europe and wasn't part of the guild could be working on it, and the people in America couldn't be. So maybe the show's not going to be so bad because a lot of the American writers are gone, but I highly, highly doubt that because the UK is having just as many issues with their creativity as we are. Doctor Who, anybody? Who, what's that show? Oh, it's dead now. But yeah, I don't have much hope for it. This article didn't tell me really anything of value except that it's empty and hollow. That has the veneer of Tolkien, that it has the drapings of Tolkien, but it has nothing actually of Tolkien here. Now, if you go and read some other articles, the showrunners come and blatantly say that they're going to have like a love relationship going on between Sauron and Galadriel. Like, what the heck? At this point in time in the books, Galadriel is supposed to be married to Celebrimbor Nor. I think I said his name wrong. My apologies. But there should be no love sequence going on between Galadriel and Sauron. But we have to make the drama. It's all about the drama, people. That's pretty much all that we're seeing here. There's no authentically Tolkien in this story. So I hate to say it, but for us Lord of the Ring fans, there's just nothing here for us. Maybe we'll have a better luck with War of the Rohirrim, but that looks like it's gonna be another girl boss show or a movie. I can't remember which one it's gonna be, but I have very little hope for that show at all. Rings of Power season 2 off to the gutter trash for you, in my opinion. But I want to hear what you guys gotta say. Do you think this is gonna be a better show than what I'm projecting it to be? Do you think a lot of people are gonna come in, see that it's a fantastic representation of Tolkien? Even if it is, I'll eat my words and I'll make a video and I'll say that, hey, I was wrong. This actually is matching up with what Tolkien world is. But I highly doubt that. But I look forward to hear what you guys gotta say down below. Leave a like if you liked the video, dislike if you didn't like it, and don't forget to subscribe. Catch you all later. Bye.